If there's one thing you know about topwater fishing, it's that you always want to have something different. The Mad Max popper is that something different.
Topwater is awesome because it's so visual. Like, it's a very visual technique, and this Mad Max, a little bit smaller popper, is a great bait to pick apart this shallow cover.
What I love about this bait is all of the details that went into it. You know, you pick this bait up and you can immediately tell, like, every single thing has been customized on this bait. The mouth opening, it's not just a circle, right? It's all squared off, it's got a really aggressive angle. The rear treble has the dressing on it. It makes the action when you're walking the dog or you're popping it or when it's just sitting there, it's always doing something when you have that material at the back. And then the front treble, it's got the red in it, and it's just one more thing for that fish to key in on and maybe take the whole bait instead of just slashing at the back.
Topwater is the most visual form of fishing, right? I think that's what so many people love it. It's so addicting. I think you can learn so much from that. A lot of people are like, oh man, we had a bunch of followers. But for me, I'm like, man, we had a bunch of followers. I got to interact with a fish, see its body language and its movement, and I think that's huge. And I think things like topwater and anything that brings that fish up where you can see it really teaches you a lot about bass fishing and how to catch fish better.
Topwater to me is like the pinnacle of fun. Like, when people think about fishing, a lot of times they think about like the grind, they think about catching a giant. Nothing will kick on like the fun like a topwater blow up. Like, there is nothing.
When you fish subsurface, you get a hit, you kind of feel a tug on the line, you set the hook. And that's exciting. I mean, I'm not gonna discredit that at all. It's a ton of fun. Topwater, on the other hand, is like you see everything. That subsurface action, you don't see it.
Now, what makes the topwater popper a unique bait is that it works year-round. Like, it works great in the spring and fall. It works great on hot summer days. You can work it well in open water. You can run it right up next to cover, and it's always going to be effective. There's a way to make it effective.
And a popper is probably my favorite bait to throw up here in the north during the June time frame, but really in the post-spawn, especially around hard cover. So I'm looking for docks, I'm looking for laydowns. I'm looking for shallow cover in the water that bass can spawn around, bluegill can spawn around, and is just a hard piece of cover for those fish to sit on before they start to pull back out into the grass or off into that offshore stuff. It's gonna work all year long, but really that's when I really key in on the popper. Not only are you fishing typically visual cover, but the technique itself is visual. It's on the top of the water. The strikes are typically pretty vicious for the most part, and you can actually watch fish eat the bait. You can also watch fish react to the bait, which gives you an idea of what the fish are doing. A bluegill color is going to be a really prominent color for me. I'm really trying to match the forage, match the hatch, and a lot of times I'm imitating bluegill, I'm imitating small bait fish, and these bluegill colors do a really good job of that.
Like, every single thing, front to back, top to bottom, is custom on this bait, and that's what just makes it so special. When you've got this in your tackle box, you've got like a Swiss Army knife. It is a do-it-all popper.